Hello everyone, in this video we're going to talk about the Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I guess it's more my feelings and experiences reading this book. It took me about a month and a half to finish the book, and whenever I'm focused on any sort of media or any sort of like book or like TV show that I spend a lot of time on, I guess I have a lot of experiences with it, and it's just, this video is just for me to kind of list out the experiences, what I thought about the book, because I did really enjoy it. It's probably the best book I read. It's the longest book I read, 800 pages. And it just made me feel a lot of things, and I love how Dostoevsky writes. So I'll just do a quick review of kind of my feelings about the book. Again, I should state I'm not a book reviewer. I don't read books even particularly well. I don't understand what's happening half the times, but this book, it really did stick with me. So we'll get into it. So a quick summary of the book is the Brothers Karamazov is the last book written by Fyodor Dostoevsky before he passed away. And it's about the father, Fyodor Karamazov, and his three sons, Dmitry, Ivan, and Alyosha, or Alexei. And the plot the main thing that kind of moves the plot forward is the father's relationship with all of his sons, and eventually, spoiler alert, it leads to a murder, and that's the main driving point of it. But I think beneath the depth of it, there's so much more that happens within this book. I think the main thing, so I guess all three of the brothers are very different, and they all kind of take parts of their father in different ways. And as I'm explaining this, it doesn't sound like that good of a book, but good of a story. But as you read into it and read into how Dostoevsky writes these characters are just insanely deep. They're so fleshed out. They seem, as I was reading it, it seemed more real than even the people I was interacting day to day with. These people, they really stuck with me. Dmitry is kind of, in the book they say, the sensualist, always seeking kind of these carnal pleasures, women, money, kind of parties, drinking. But again, they all feel very deeply in the Karamazov way, and like the same way that their father does. They all very deep feelers. Ivan is the intellectual, the one that tries to think, and he thinks so far that it drives him crazy. And Alexei, or Alyosha, is kind of the mediator that's trying to kind of loves everyone, loves everything. Just trying to kind of solve everyone's problems. So I guess I can go into why I read the book. I think I read an online post that said that that just talked about the character of Alyosha, the youngest son, and they said they said that he was someone to kind of idolize in a way, which is strange. But I read a bit of Crime and Punishment. I could never get into it, but I just decided to start reading this book, and all of these characters just really resonated with me. I was reading the character of Alyosha, and I think I was trying to see parts of myself within him, and obviously he's kind of like the best version of myself that I want to be. But there's also other characters like Kolya, which I think, as I read deeper into the book and as Kolya got introduced, you realize that this character is kind of the bad parts of myself that I wanted to improve. He was someone that had access to a lot of information at a young age, through his father's kind of library, and he's 13 and he thinks he knows it all. So I think I've been there at least, and I think we can get to a part where, anyways, I think I heard something in the hallway. Yeah, I guess the favorite parts of my book, I guess it's separated very well into different books within it, 1 to 12. I think for me, I really liked around books 5 or 6. That's when Ivan and Alexei had their kind of their debate about the existence of God. Is God good? Ivan's kind of poem about the Grand Inquisitor, and how the Catholic Church follows the rules of the devil instead of Jesus. And I think my favorite, I really like everything involving Alyosha and the Elder Zozima. I think there's just so much good life advice in there that I really just enjoyed it a lot. I think I've highlighted some quotes in here, which maybe I'll get into, but I just feel like there's this like very good, and it's some of them that are popular online, of these kind of snippets of like just like very good life advice. And I think just reading the parts, especially involving Alyosha and Elder Zozima, just for me at least, it makes me a better person. It makes me think more positively about things. I can't get into that topic without discussing kind of the main discussion in this book, which is religion. It goes very deep into theological concerns, the existence of God, what's happening in the world. And I think when I first started this book, I was in a place where I had all these thoughts in my head, and this book really spoke to me because it it's this characters kind of debating the existence of God and what and the spiritualism and the mysticism of everything. So I think the book has definitely made me a lot more spiritual. I don't want to go too deep into my beliefs, but it's definitely, and obviously you can tell from this book, I think that, well, maybe not obviously, but Dostoevsky was a Christian, and you can kind of, and even at the end that I've just finished, the end, it finishes with Kolya asking Alyosha, are we going to go to heaven? Are we going to meet each other back in heaven? And Alyosha responds positively to that and says, yeah, we are. So there's an underlying kind of belief in that you can see Dostoevsky's belief in God. That kind of, it did draw me in, but I mean, very fairly at the same time, all of this is written by Dostoevsky, but he writes these characters so well that I just love the debate between Ivan and Alexei, where Ivan's an atheist and Alexei has belief in God. But Dostoevsky is seeing both sides of this big question that we'll never solve. I think there's I think the parts I didn't like, I wasn't too into kind of everything after involving the murder, involving Mitya's story. To me, it didn't resonate nearly as much as the story of Alyosha did with me. I don't think I'm as much of a Dmitri as other people are. So I thought that part kind of dragged on a bit, involving how his murder kind of took place. I liked the interrogation because he really got deep into understanding Mitya. But I thought the last chapter dragged in very long, when it was just the prosecutor and the prosecutor and the defender. It's just them going. I can't remember their name, Fetyukovich, and their one is Ippolit Kirillovich. And they're both kind of going back and forth as to what they thought happened. To me, I mean, I didn't really read too many people's discussion about the last chapter, but to me, it just kind of dragged on a bit. You could see, because I mean, for us, we knew exactly what happened, that Smirkov killed Fyodor, but to hear other people debate it when we already know what has happened, I can see why it's interesting, but to me, it was a bit kind of long-winded, especially it lasted like 70 pages of them just debating each other. I think aside from that, I really like the beginning. I love the chapters with Kolya and the boys, with Snirigov and like his relationship with his son who passed away, and those parts were really good. You could really see how well Dostoevsky kind of understood just the human element of everything and the human nature. On that note, I think this is my opinion, but I think I read it online too, so I can't say it's solely my opinion, but some of the female characters I felt were kind of like written as a product of their times. They weren't that much fleshed out. They were kind of very, what's the word? Kind of frantic, kind of in a maybe a 19th century womanly way. You know, very emotional. Krushenka, Katerina Ivanovna, Lise, who is Alexei's fiance, Madame Koklikov. I think those characters were a bit, not that they were very deep characters, but, you know, they seemed almost kind of a caricature of what a woman should be, compared to what woman in our society is now. I thought the male characters, I mean, there's so much that I read that you just realize, you know, nothing changes about who we are as humans. You know, it's only been 140 years since he wrote what he wrote, and we're just all the same. So yeah, I think those are my feelings about the book. I could have went deeper into it, but yeah, I don't prepare too well. I'll try to find some of my favorite kind of quotes from this book, if I can do that pretty quick. I'm still learning how to use my ebook here. I think my favorite one, and it's the one that you can find online very easily. It's not a quote that only I kind of know. Annotations. There are good and bad of ebooks, ebook readers. I'll read my favorite book, which I talked to my friend about, Evil Eye, or Mal de Ojo, and it's crazy. To me, it makes you really appreciate how much Dostoevsky really went into human nature, and just even just like, I mean, I think he showed that off during the trial of just how deep his psychology was as a writer, just even as a writer. Really amazing to read. Anyways, this is my favorite quote that. See, here you have passed by a small child, passed by in anger, with a foul word, with a wrathful soul. You perhaps did not notice the child, but he saw you, and your unsightly and impious image has remained in his defenseless heart. You did not know it, but you may thereby have planted a bad seed in him, and it may grow, and all because you did not restrain yourself before the child, because you did not nurture in yourself a heedful, active love. Yeah, and there's just so many like little kind of snippets and little kind of like verses like that just makes this book makes you think about day to day, how you interact with people, how you treat people. It's awesome. So thank you guys for listening.